I want to feel proud of myself, but it's hard to do that sometimes because of the ideas that have been ingrained in my head since birth.
How do you start convincing yourself that like working on your mental health is not a waste of time? When you just have a bunch of different moving parts, like, you can become so oblivious to like how you are actually feeling. There's so many moving parts in the kitchen. There's the head chef, there's the sous chef, there's the assistant chef.
You always bring it back to like a food comparison.
You were right.
Yeah, tell me exactly what I was right with.
All right. Oh my God, guys, it's true. This is a part 2 to the part 1 of last week, an episode on self-sabotage. Are you a self-sabotager? Probably. You listen to this episode. We talk about how to stop downplaying yourself, how to build healthy relationships and build a good circle around you. We talk about how to start thinking and living abundantly. And those are just some of the tips. If you want to hear the rest of them, you got to listen to the episode. We start right now. Welcome back to our podcast hosted by us. The podcast is called Difficult-ish, and it's hosted by us. Me, Nitro Cold Brew Masha Munir, he's back. My little juice bar got it back just for me.
And I am Mahua Khan, your co-host, and I got my cold brew coffee.
It's not just regular cold brew. Like,
there's chai, like it's chai infused, right?
There's no chai.
You said it's chai flavored.
I said cardamom vanilla.
Oh, okay.
How'd you get
similar
chai?
To that? So, I mean, chai has cardamom in it. Why is he trying to gaslight me right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Welcome to Difficult-ish. Before we get any further, please like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, rate the podcast, review the podcast, do all of those things.
It helps so much, and it's free, and it takes literally less than 3 seconds.
What she said.
Yeah. And it helps like not only bring this conversation to you guys, but to other people out into the broadcast of the world of podcasts, because this topic that we have today, this is part 2, is a really important conversation.
Damn.
That is especially important to like bring out to the world. So if you rate and review, that's like a small, simple, free thing that you can do.
Do it.
That helps a lot.
For us.
For us.
You want to help us?
How are you doing?
Help us. Me?
Yeah.
I'm good.
I love when your hair is out.
Thanks.
In the video episode, if you guys aren't watching on YouTube, his hair is nice and flowy today.
I don't love my natural hair.
Why?
I feel like it's a very common thing.
Why?
My hair is just like, it parts in a really ugly space, and it's just very, very straight.
Hey, that's not the truth.
And it's disgusting.
Hey, you don't gotta say all that. That's not the truth.
And it's just like,
so many
it just
people
takes so
are
many, like, so much
envious of your hair. It's so luscious.
Nah, but they don't understand like the real me.
What's the real
you know
you?
Like all like the products I use, it's like the makeup, it's like I put so much like
you need
things.
to have that sometimes to like bring out your natural.
But it's
like,
so much
hair.
work. Sometimes I just wanna, but I can't do all that.
Okay, well,
yeah,
I love your hair. Okay.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm good. Busy doing like 3 things at a time.
Yeah.
For the last week. Wedding, work, podcast, cooking, hanging out with my bestie.
Me?
And yeah, busy
That's
times.
a good busy time.
Busy start to the year, but good. We're staying positive.
I feel like
positivo.
busyness helps you stay on track and like on schedule and be motivated though.
Yeah.
Like I feel like when you have more things on your schedule, like specifically talking about you, it helps you do everything else.
I kind of like the pressure.
Yeah.
I like the pressure. I just don't like when people get mad at me.
Well,
when people get mad at me and start like,
well,
that's when like knocks me off.
If there's some things that were on your plate that you were supposed to prioritize and you don't do it, then I feel like there's some reason for people to be mad at you.
Nah.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good. I just came back from a Zayn concert.
Oh,
snap. I
break that down.
Teased it in a couple of episodes ago that I'm going to DC for a little solo trip. I mean, it wasn't originally supposed to be a solo trip. It was supposed to be with friends, but his cousin, they canceled, which is fine. I ended up going by myself, and I had the time of my life. My inner child was so happy, so free, just singing along. I was in the pit. I wish I was a little bit taller though to like really see him over the other people with their phones up in the air. I wish I wasn't 5'2" at that moment, but you know what? We still
had a good time.
We still rock. It was a good time.
Some good footage.
Yeah, it was a
Not
good time.
too good though.
All right, I don't know why you to say that. It's so
that.
funny because like I'm not gonna even get into it too much, but like I couldn't zoom in properly on my video camera because I just thought I didn't have the recent update apparently you need the newest like iPhone to like really zoom in and get the good angle.
Why does she think updating her phone would triple her zoom?
Yeah, I tried
Like,
updating my phone like
you
in
think
the
it
middle
just
of the
gives you a
concert.
new camera when you update your phone? Oh, brand new camera.
But
That's just a software.
it's
update.
fine. I still enjoyed my time.
Yeah.
But
Good.
yeah, today what
Now
are we
we're
talking
back.
about?
Today is part 2. It's what we
Yeah.
talked about last week. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, leave. Go listen to that one first. Come back.
Yeah.
We're talking about continuing our conversation on self-sabotage
Yeah.
and why our people self-sabotage, where it can come from.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode, we will be specializing in how to stop.
The actionable
Self-sabotaging.
tips on how to
Actionable.
stop self-sabotaging and unlearning these toxic mindsets, breaking this toxic cycle. So yeah, like what Mashun said in part 1, we dove in deep, right?
She
talked
dove in
about
deep. She did a phenomenal job in episode 1. If you didn't go listen to that, please go listen to that because
Yeah.
she was spitting, and she's gonna
Yeah.
continue this episode.
We got some good facts in the last episode. Thanks for the little like
yeah,
burst
you know,
of
if not
motivation,
me, you know.
encouragement.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the first episode, we basically talked about like the telltale signs that you might have if you are a self-sabotaging person. It might have been a little subtweet to you because I know some of you guys were probably listening to that and you're like, oh, I'm a procrastinator. Oh, I have a fear of failure and also a fear of success. Oh, I'm also a perfectionist. And there are like so many different things that you don't even think about that relate to self-sabotaging behaviors. And we wanted to break it up into parts 1 and 2 just because these topics are just so vast and there's so many things that we can talk about. Obviously, we could have jam-packed it into one single episode, but we learned that like if we can break it up into different sections, it just makes it more better.
Yeah.
It makes it better for
There
you
you
guys
go.
because you get more information.
You do.
And we're not just like speeding through each thing because it's like
Yeah,
it
we can
deserves
take our
its own
time. We
thing.
could take our time.
Each
you know,
topic,
there's
each
a lot to say.
subtopic deserves its own
A
little,
lot to say.
moment
A lot to say. Because at the end of the day, this is a podcast.
Yeah.
You know, this is about us, you know, relaying good information to you.
Yeah.
That's very serious and
Yeah.
very helpful.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
What's up?
are you ready for this one?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Amped up.
Do you feel like the first part of this episode of self-sabotaging, do you think it like talked to you a little bit? Like, do you think it subtweeted you a little bit?
It did.
Yeah.
It did. I think you said, you know, because I edited it yesterday. I think you said a lot of things that really spoke to me.
Really?
And I think you said some very educated things.
I feel like us recording the first part of the episode, I think it gave us a little wake up call, a little refresher on some of the tactics and like signs that we had and still sometimes have with like our own self-sabotaging tendencies. And I don't know about you, but I've been on this like personal journey of just like becoming a better and healthier person where I'm not trying to like ruin my own life and not trying to like get in my own way. And I've been trying my best to just like break the cycle in so many different ways, you know, just like breaking the traumatic cycle that I have and healing from all my past trauma. I mean, you can never really completely heal, but you know, trying my best to like move beyond it, learning how to not self-sabotage and ruin my own life, and just like trying to be better for myself and the next generation, you know, so that they don't have to worry about it.
And one thing that you said last episode that I really liked was in regards to like discipline, and you know, because healing and bettering ourselves is a marathon, not a race. You know, it's a journey. It's a journey, not a little trip. It takes a long time, and it has its ups and downs, and throughout the processes, it's critical to stay disciplined and to stay focused. And something that you said was something that I say all the time, which is like discipline is like the highest form of like self-respect. You know, and like the last thing you want to do is disrespect yourself by falling off your grind and falling off, you know, your own commitments that you set out for yourself. So there were many things that spoke to me last episode that you preached. And we gonna keep the ball rolling this episode.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good one.
So what's up? Where you want to start?
So I feel like we should talk about some of the actionable ways to stop self-sabotaging. So again, these are very like personal to me and to Mashun because like we've personally done it, we still do it, and I feel like we should get like the obvious out of the way. Right?
Okay.
The cliches out of the way.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I feel like when we see self-help videos or read these books and things like
we know
that,
all the ones. We know the ones.
there are some very basic things that we kind of roll our eyes at. Like, it's very cliche. We grew up listening to it. But, like, there's some truth to it, right?
There's a lot of truth to it,
and
honestly.
We're not going to dive too deep into the cliches just because, again, you've heard so much about it. But I think this is just, like, a fresher, more unique take on it and, like, more of a actual way to implement it in your life.
Yeah. And one thing that I learned, sorry to cut you off, I'll get back to you. One thing that I learned is when it comes to like a lot of these really like simplistic pieces of advice, all it takes is a certain person to say it to you.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, you know, the typical
Hearing it
white
from the
man,
same,
you know, typical like a random teacher, a random YouTube video. All it takes is like maybe someone that looks like you, maybe someone that's been through the same thing that you've been through. Some you can even be like someone you just have a close relationship with, who says this thing to you. All it takes is like the right person to say it to you for it to like hit a little.
Maybe
different.
it's us. Oh, maybe it's us to you.
That's the point.
Maybe that's what you've been needing.
This is difficult. All right, continue.
So the first little tactic that I have is to really spend time on self-awareness and just being more mindful with yourself. So that can be going to therapy, doing some yoga to have some more meditation and time for yourself, doing some journaling. And yes, we've heard this all the time. We've heard go to therapy. Obviously, it's not accessible to just everyone, right? Especially as a POC. But there are so many other ways to self-reflect and do the work yourself. So when I say journaling, it's kind of hard to like start journaling, especially if you're not the type of person to like write and you don't know what prompt to go for. Like, especially you don't really journal. You're not a writer in that sense. You're a writer poetry wise. That's how you get it out, but you don't like write your feelings and thoughts like that, right? I know of.
You know, sorry, I won't cut you off.
No, what? No, go ahead. But I think some great ways to start journaling or to self-reflect in general to get started on unlearning these toxic habits is first to think about what kind of relationships did you grow up seeing. If you're the type of person that's constantly in like toxic relationships and you can't be fulfilled or happy in a healthy relationship, maybe you should like dig deeper and try to figure out if you saw just unhealthy relationships growing up and you thought that was the norm, so you think that that's what you have to have now, right? So that's like rewiring your brain and your mindset. Maybe if you're the type of person that has imposter syndrome, or you're scared of failure, but also you're scared of success, so that makes you procrastinate more, maybe you have to dig deeper into yourself and answer the question of what is your idea of success? Like, what did you grow up with, right? Like, a lot of us, especially children of immigrants or South Asian immigrant kids, they grew up with this idea of success that it is you buying a house and retiring your parents and having like the most high paying job in your doctorate field or your engineering field. And sometimes that warps your idea of success because you're trying so hard to strive for that level. And even if you've had so many other personal gains and successes in your life, since you haven't hit that level yet, you're so hard on yourself and you feel like you've failed as a person, right? And this is personally still very hard for me, where I feel like a lot of the accomplishments that I've had in my life don't matter as much because I haven't hit like the child of immigrants dream, right? And that's frustrating because I want to feel proud of myself, but it's hard to do that sometimes because of the ideas that have been like ingrained in my head since birth, basically. So it's really important. And also, this is not like an overnight type of, solution. You have to keep doing this for months and years even to really like drill it inside of your head. But it's really important to like learn what the root of these problems come from and to tackle it in that sense, and then just really rewire like the negative mindsets that you have associated with it, Yeah, you like that one? Your thoughts on that?
You know what's that like the root of all this?
Yeah.
It is so important to schedule out some time or to spend some time just being present. Being present. Because when you are living life and you got a million things to do in a day, you're going to be going and going and going and going and just not have any sort of idea
Yeah.
what is going on in the day, especially what is going on inside, how you feeling. You know, when is the last time you sat and just thought about your feelings?
Oh,
you
wow.
you wrote down, like, not specifically, but you know, just like you thought about, like, okay, this is what I'm stressed about, and then this is how I can get through this, or this is, you know, something that I need to focus on, and this is how I will do. Just like expanding your thoughts on whatever is going through, and really being present with your feelings. Like, that's kind of what like meditation is, you know. It's like really being present with everything that you're going through, and like allowing it its time, you know, because it's like when you just have a bunch of different moving parts, like you can become so oblivious to like how you are actually feeling and what is actually going on. It's like when you go to like a restaurant, you know, when you go to a restaurant, you order, you know, some steak and shrimp. There's so many moving parts in the kitchen. There's the head chef, there's the sous chef, there's the assistant chef,
You
the
always
dishwasher,
bring it back to like a food comparison.
dishwasher. You got like, you know, like the deliverer. You got the man. There's so many moving parts that come and bring you your dish. But it's like, we should not be oblivious to like what is like really going on. And like when you really spend some time to be present, you grow like a deeper appreciation of like yourself and how you're feeling. You can start answering more questions. That's kind of what is at the root of it all. Because I get a lot of questions all the time just from like people on like, oh, like, how do I, you know, be more creative, or how do I allow myself to like kind of like enter that space. And I think it comes down to that, you know, like we spend so much of our time just like being like another moving body in the world, and not like actually being present with like how we're feeling and stuff. And even when like, you know, we are feeling creative, we don't have like the whereabouts to like what it is we will be creative of, because we just never spent any time really recollecting our feelings and our emotions and stuff.
And that like reminds me, because what you said, a lot of people don't take the time to self-reflect or just sit down and prioritize mental health, which is related to journaling or, you know, doing meditation and things like that. Because when we think about taking care of our body, we just think about working out physically, you know, going to the gym or eating nourishing food, and that's usually a part of our schedule. It's like a thing that you know you have to do for the most part. But if we treat mental health things the same way that we do with like scheduling a workout, that's what holds you more accountable, and that's how you realize that like everything is intertwined. And if you work on your mental health, that also helps with your physical health and everything else. So something that I like doing is having a journal by my bed, so that it kind of, I see it in sight, and that forces me to do it more often instead of it being like hidden away where I don't even think about it as often. I also like putting it on my to-do list sometimes, especially if I've gone like months without writing anything down, and I've been just having a shitty few weeks and months, and I'm like, oh my god, why is this happening to me, without actually like self-reflecting. And then also, if you're the type of person that isn't disciplined with workouts, and especially meditating or going to hot yoga and things like that, I would really recommend either having like an accountable partner or like a friend that goes with you that can hold you accountable, or taking a class that you kind of have to like pay extra for if you do miss out on it, which I do. And that tells me that like, yes, going to a hot yoga class or doing like a mindful workout is a part of my work day, and I'm gonna force myself to do it, and I enjoy doing it, and it just becomes more ingrained in your just health, you know, and in your work life, you know. So
I got a question. I
really recommend it.
I got a question. Something that I've always struggled with is seeing working on your mental health as a waste of time. Thing that I'm wasting my time, because when I go to the gym and work on like my physical health, I see, you know, the actual benefits, you know, what I'm getting out of it,
the results.
A lot of time when you work on your mental health, you don't see a lot coming out of it, at least for a while. So how do you start convincing yourself that like working on your mental health is not a waste of time?
I think it is kind of the long game, you know. You have to wait and see the results, but it's really the small wins that you have to kind of see as an accomplishment, right? Like if you are the type of person that hates going to a workout class or hates journaling or something like that, and you kind of dread it, but then after a few months you start to look forward to it and you start enjoying it, I think that's a small win, right? Like I wasn't really the type of person to sit down and journal my feelings, especially even when I make art. Like when I'm painting, I don't like making difficult type of art. I hate the process of it. It's not easy, it's not comfortable. But I think once you start seeing your art becoming formed and you see your hard work being put into it, it's kind of the same analogy where it's very uncomfortable and difficult in the beginning, but then you start seeing the small, slow wins, you know, that end up changing your entire life.
And that final product always reminds you that like it's worth it.
Yeah.
You know, it was worth all the, you know, the internal conflict.
Yeah. And I think it also helps when like you know that there are some, like, you've self-reflected, you're self-aware, and you've learned that there are some things that are wrong with you, or indeed not perfect, right? You have some toxic qualities, unfortunately. But fortunately, not only have you become self-aware of that, but you are now trying to become a better person and unlearning that, right?
Yeah.
And I think it helps when you've also acknowledged that maybe a family member or someone around you has horrible qualities that you personally don't mesh with and you don't like, and then it should make your blood boil that you also have related qualities as that person that you don't like. So maybe to motivate yourself to try to become a better person, just be like, oh my God, I don't want to be like this person anymore. I want to work on myself and become better for me and for everyone else around me. Damn. You know? Damn. And I think that's like a competition with yourself, you know? Damn. But like something interesting that you said is taking the time to self-reflect and like sit with your feelings, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like in this day and age, it is so difficult to do that because, guys, TikTok is back. She was gone for a day.
Sorry.
Not even a day. She's back.
My fault. Yeah.
Okay.
My fault.
So a quality of self-sabotaging that we talked about briefly in the first part of this episode is being self-destructive in a way where you're constantly indulging, right? So that could mean that you're very dependent on social media to numb out your feelings. You're very dependent on substance abuse, and you're drinking all the time, or, you know, just doing anything that you can to distract yourself from what's happening. And I think this is a very common thing where, like, if we go through a breakup or if we, you know, have like a really shitty negative feeling, our first thought is to kind of just like scroll and see what other people are doing with their lives and then feel worse about ourselves because we're comparing ourselves. Or we're like, okay, let me go out with the girls, which is fine sometimes. Let me go out with the girls and get drunk, right? That's fine in moderation, but it's still important to have the capability to self-reflect and understand what you're feeling before you're trying to numb it out, right? Like, we get this dopamine release when we are like constantly reflecting on other people's lives and scrolling because it makes us feel productive, and it's like we're doing something with our time and our hands and fingers, and it gives us like this false hope because, you know, if we're drinking or if we're on drugs or something, we're like, yes, life is so great, like I don't have to think about this, like screw that person. But then you have to live with that after when you wake up and you're still feeling that. But then if you're constantly trying to numb yourself with all of these different things, you're not actually healing or getting over that pain, right? So I just had to say it's interesting that you said like, oh, be bored and self-reflect, because a lot of people in this day and age, they have a hard time being bored.
That goes hand in hand with something that I say a lot too, which is, you know, we always hear, you know, if you got a dream or if you got a goal, like say it out loud, like repeat it in the mirror every single day, or you know, like manifest it into reality. I've always been a big proponent of not doing that because I feel like the more that you vocalize your dreams and goals, the more it just kicks off like dopamine receptors in your brain into making yourself believe that it is already done or you are already working on it. If you keep telling yourself, oh, I'm gonna be the biggest if you keep telling yourself that, you're gonna like subconsciously make yourself believe that maybe you already are, or maybe you're already taking the big steps that it takes to reach that, when at the end of the day you're not doing anything. You're still in like the planning stages of whatever your goal is, and you constantly telling people your ideas or telling yourself your ideas, it can make yourself believe that it is already happening when it is not. You're not doing nothing. You're still planning it out. And that's why I've always been a big proponent of like, you don't got to keep it to yourself. You can tell people, write it down, but like, don't be so like I'm gonna be this. just do it.
Yeah,
just,
take
like,
the steps to do it.
Yeah, and I feel like that narrative can like be transferred into like what you said or
Yeah,
like anything.
and I talked about this in a recent YouTube video where I talked about 25 ways to glow up in 2025, but it's also similar to, you know, if you're the type of person that is constantly venting to your friends about like a toxic relationship or like something that you're going through, but it's the same thing over and over, that's fine. Obviously have your friends to vent to, but if you don't self-reflect on your own and try to, I guess, become more confident in your own truth, in your own ideas, and you're constantly like feeding into other people's judgment and their opinions for them to tell you what to do, it's not going to ever make you feel more confident in your own decisions, right? Like, I am always, you know, proponent of like, have your girlfriends and talk to them and vent to them and open up to them, but also have your own space to like form your own thoughts, right? Especially if you're the type of person that has some self-sabotaging tendencies, like you have low self-esteem, and that prevents you from making small or big decisions, or you're the type of person that stays in toxic relationships or like is constantly moving from one to the next. Maybe it's time for you to try to just like be uncomfortable and process those feelings alone first, or try to have like your own decision in your head first and then maybe vent to someone. But I think it's really important to just have your own like identity before you start like pushing it onto other people as well, you know?
Yeah, I mean, hey man, you talking that talk.
Yeah, you like that one?
You're sitting so close to me. This always happens.
I'm not sitting that close to you. Guys, watch the video. He's wearing grumpy pajamas. Okay, I don't know why he's talking about being close.
But the point of like the setup is for you to be there.
Oh my god,
like
fine,
in your corner.
fine,
you want to be in
fine.
the corner so bad. Go sit in the corner. You want to sit next to me and goddamn like.
You don't like me?
Nah, anything funny to break up like this episode? I got grumpy pants on. They're fuzzy pants. I get it.
What do you get? Tell me. No, tell me. Tell me that I was right. Tell me.
I'm listen, this is called like humility, and this is like a good like practice for like relationships and stuff. You were right.
Yeah, tell me exactly what I was right with.
All right. You see how like I don't
do
this?
Tell me exactly what I was right with.
Nah, like fuzzy pants in the winter when it's cold out.
Let me tell you, this man has never believed in just comfort, right? When he moved to New York, he's like, yeah, it's wintertime. I'm never going to get cold in my life. I'm never going to wear fuzzy pants. I'm just going to wear like shorts and like a short sleeve shirt. He did say that, okay? And he was proud of it. And now that winter is actually here, not only is his 20 layers not helping him with anything, he still comes back with cold cheeks. Now he's wearing not only fuzzy pants in the house, but he's also wearing fuzzy socks. He's on the borderline of wearing mittens in the house as well. And this man has just become so happy with like heat. Okay, he's also a big hater on heat, like heated homes. He likes AC even when it's like 20 degrees outside. And he's become such a big like comfort person. So everything that I've been trying to preach to him has been right. And now he's finally understanding at his big ripe age.
Yeah. Nah, this is called I'm being humble. Yeah.
You're being humble?
Yeah, you know, you're right.
Yeah.
2 words, you gotta learn, all right?
Yeah. Anyway.
All right? You wanna say something like I'm right in? And like balance it out? I didn't think so. Now what's up? Like you wanna do another one?
The next one.
What is it?
We got another tip. We actually talked about it briefly in our last episode. Representation is important, right?
Oh my god.
Especially positive representation, right? Especially on top of that, if you're a POC, if you're trying to do something in a traditional field, or even if it's not a traditional field, it's important to have people that look like you who have succeeded in those things, right? We are the type of people who are Bangladeshi American creatives, and we felt like it was a little bit hard starting out in this path because we weren't necessarily encouraged to do it growing up because it's not exactly safe or the norm in our culture. And since we didn't have too much representation or people in our close vicinity that we can reach out to for help or just look up to, it didn't exactly make us feel motivated.
Facts.
And like a big thing for self-sabotaging tendencies is that you might have low self-esteem, or you might have imposter syndrome, where it makes you feel like you don't belong in a space even if you worked hard towards it.
Yeah.
And to fight imposter syndrome, it helps a lot if there are people that you can just be represented by, you know?
Facts.
And yeah, I think this would have helped us a lot in the beginning if we had just a group of people around us that like accomplished the things we wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And also I think it would have made our parents like understand it more.
Nah. You don't know about.
No?
Nah.
You don't think so?
Nah, think about it. You got, how many kids in India want to be the next Shah Rukh Khan?
Yeah.
Millions.
Yeah.
Parents saw Shah Rukh Khan.
Mm.
Parents love Shah Rukh Khan. They don't want their kids to be Shah Rukh Khan. So I don't think it matters for the parents. But no, I think you know, representation, you know, that kind of saved my life. You know,
Yeah.
I always wanted to be a writer. I always loved writing poetry. But it wasn't until I saw, you know, shout out my boy Farhan, until I saw him on the shelves at Barnes & Noble, where I was like, damn, I can write a book.
Isn't it so crazy? Because like,
I had never even thought about writing a book ever until
Yeah.
I saw like a brown man's face at Barnes & Noble. I was like, oh, this is a thing. That's all it took. All it took was for me to see him.
Yeah.
Like, I had never talked to him. I didn't know him. All it took was for me to see his face. So I think representation is super important. Apart from anything creative, I said this in the last episode, but like even if you're trying to go up the corporate ladder, how important is it to have a senior director that's brown, or how important it is to, you know, have a coffee shop owner that's brown?
Yeah.
Like just literally anything. I think it's seeing someone that looks like you, or maybe they don't even look like you, just, you know, that they've been on like a similar life path and life journey than you. Having them in a place that you want to end up in is like the secret sauce to like success in the world.
Isn't it so amazing how like, I'm sure Farhan, but even me as a creative, and anyone who is doing a lot of work and has a lot of output but doesn't feel, again, we kind of talked about this before, doesn't feel as successful all the time because you're not hitting like the metrics of what success is, what we grew up with. But then, you know, an audience member like you who sees their name on like on the spine of a book, or just like sees their work, it means so much to you. And then like you're kind of pushing it into like the next generation, and like, you know, just being inspired by that and starting your own book and things like that. I feel like that is so meaningful. Yeah. You know, because like that is an accomplishment for me and for Farhan, I'm sure, where it's like, wow, we're continuing this chain and inspiring more and more people. But since it's not like a tangible piece of accomplishment, especially with the idea of success that we have, it doesn't feel as important, even though it should be.
It's like inspiring others is the best thing that you can possibly do.
Yeah.
If you are trying to build like a career in, you know, spotlight, or, you know, have like an audience, like the biggest form of success that you can possibly output is like inspiring someone else to do something, and them remembering your face and remembering that like they would not have done what they're doing if they never saw you. So it's like, I mean, like the fact that it's not tangible, like that's what makes us not even really care. Not, I'm gonna say not care about it, but obviously like puts it down the priority list a little bit, I guess. But yeah, man, it's literally, it's so crazy how it's like that should be the number one goal and like the number one most celebrated thing for anyone who's trying to like be you know, whatever, get some stardom. So
love that.
Yeah, man, shout out to you.
Love FS Yusuf.
Shout out to you,
and
my boy.
I think on the same vein as that, it's really important to surround yourself not even with just like positive representation, whether it is your friend or whether it is someone on social media or someone you've seen or know, to surround yourself with like positive friends. Like there are many friends that you can have that don't necessarily hate on you, but they also don't necessarily like support your dreams or play into your delusion, right?
It's like empty, like weightless support.
It's like if you constantly surround yourself with people that are happy for your success, but like they don't know how to aim for higher for you or with you, then that also makes you feel like you don't belong in a higher up space if that's what you want to achieve, right? We talked about in our last episode how if you're the type of person who is scared of success and failure, and you also have imposter syndrome, you might hinder yourself forever and like stay in a position that you don't necessarily want to be in, but you don't know that there's more out there for you, right? Like, for example, if you forever stayed in your hometown and you've worked in your like local bakery or whatever your whole life, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you have more aspirations beyond that, sometimes you don't even know how to get to that point or achieve that goal because you don't have the people around you to support you, but also you don't really have other people you can look up to, and you've just gone so beyond to the point where it's close to impossible to get out of it now, right? So it's really important to surround yourself with people that support you like wholeheartedly, but also believe in you, like goals that don't even feel like it's in reach for you. Like they have such high standards for you, and when you have that type of environment, it makes you feel like anything is possible, right? It makes you feel like you deserve to be in the space that you've worked hard for. It makes you feel like you have a higher self-esteem. You feel like uplifted and fulfilled when you're around these people, you know?
Yeah.
And it's important to find that, especially in your adult years when you are having this shift in your life or you want to, because, you know, it's a very big thing. The 5 people that you spend the most time with, they have such a big impact with who you are as a person and how your life will turn out.
Yeah.
So it's important to surround yourself with people that uplift you.
And I think to add on that,
when
someone is giving you that energy, it is very important to give that energy back as well, to maintain it. You know, you definitely want to feed that back into whoever is giving it to you, because it's just gonna like help electrify the both of you.
Yeah.
And you know, we perform better as a team. You know, like you only go so far with yourself. You need people like along for the ride with you. So it's super important to like, you know, don't take all of that like support and generosity for granted, you know, because like they might not be asking for the same back. They might not be doing something creative like you are. They might just try to be graduating college, whatever it is. Like I went out with my friend Soham last weekend in Orlando, and I ran into one of my old high school friends who is still at UCF, and he's like 27. So he's been in undergrad for like 9 years. And I could tell that like he's embarrassed to share that, but I talked to him for like 10 minutes straight about like my past and how long it took me to graduate undergrad, and I just kept telling him like, yo, like doesn't matter what people keep saying, bro, like the day you graduate is gonna be the best day of your life, and like you don't give up, like it does not matter how long it takes. And I could tell, you know, he liked hearing that. You know, so I think it's important to, you know, feed good energy back to like the people that like feed it to you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I have another one, since it kind of relates to you know, the negative self-talk you had at the beginning of the episode, talking about your hair not being luscious enough. We're not doing any of that. We're not doing any of that.
Yeah, you know, like it's
no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
It's flattened. It's 40 minutes.
Your hair is not flattened at all.
Flattened.
What are you talking about, guys? Watch the episode and tell him in the comments that his hair looks very voluminous and healthy. But something that a lot of us fall victim to is negative self-talk without even realizing it, right? Like even it could be a joke. You can drop something by accident in a glass. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Why are you stupid for dropping a glass, right? Yeah. And then it could just be you stubbing your toe. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. I can't ever do anything right. Like, why do you have to say all that, right?
Yeah.
But these very subconscious things that we say in our head or say out loud has a big play in who we are as a person, right? And if you're constantly saying it to yourself, you're repeating these things to yourself in your head, it makes you have lower self-esteem. It makes you feel like you can't accomplish the things that you want to do, because again, they're small little jokey things, you might say, but it has a big part in who you are as a person, right? So you have to try to rewire your brain where you don't even think these negative thoughts anymore, because your thoughts are so powerful and it manifests into your real life, right? So if you're the type of person that grew up with a lot of trauma, or you grew up with a lot of negative side comments in your family household, or like in relationships, in your friendships, it's important to, first of all, try to distance yourself from that. But even if you can't distance yourself from family members or whatever it is, it's important to do that self-work on your own. And perhaps it is, you know, just taking a journal, taking a piece of paper, trying to write down all of the negative things that you have said about yourself or you continuously say, and just think about the opposite of that, the positive twist on that, right? And yeah, this might seem like a dumb practice to do, but again, it is a practice that's so important to rewire your brain and to think more positively, which will in turn make you think more abundantly, and it will manifest into a healthier lifestyle, right? And yeah, like I was the type of person that always kind of thought negatively about myself and would say these very subconscious bad comments, which made me feel like I wasn't capable enough to reach the goals that I wanted to reach and become the person that I wanted to become, right? And I started putting these positive affirmations all over my apartment and like in my workspace and just like everywhere that was the most reachable for me, where it's like my bathroom mirror or like my desk area, my bed area, where I had like very simple manifestations or positive affirmations that I would see constantly that would help me remind myself that I'm on the right path and what I'm doing for myself is good enough and great. And it's like a physical, tangible thing that you see that helps you rewrite the negative things that you've said to yourself, right? Or the negative comments that you've heard. And I think that gives you like a fresh breath of air, because if you're so used to just like negativity in your life, maybe that's like an anchor for you to feel more encouraged and positive, right?
I like that.
Yeah.
To add on that, I think one thing that's just helped me talk down on myself less, I guess, is just knowledge. Just knowledge. I think the more knowledgeable I become, the more confident in myself I become, and the less willing I am to like say that I can't do this or can't do that, because I think just getting smarter is like really, really important to having more self-worth. I think after we graduate, we don't really spend much time like studying anymore, like trying to build emotional intelligence or just intelligence about politics or intelligence about what's going on in the world, like whatever it is. We just kind of live life and we learn as we live.
Yeah.
But we don't really do like the extra legwork to like try to become like a well-developed human, make sure that we're developing and ramping up properly. So I think like I started spending a lot of time just kind of like reading up on whether it's something that I have an interest in, or like a new hobby that like I want to learn more about, like if it's like chess or if it's like learning how to DJ, whatever it is, just like learn more, become more knowledgeable, have more answers to more questions. And it makes you less willing to look down on yourself, because you start valuing yourself more. You start seeing yourself as more worthy for the things that you are earning, because you just place yourself at like a higher totem pole. Yeah. That goes alongside like, going to the gym, eating better, having better relationships, everything like that. I'm just saying like knowledge is really one of those pillars that has helped me a lot. And just telling myself that like I'm deserving and worthy of like whatever comes my way.
You are. Do you feel like you've improved with your negative self-talk?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I used to I just used to be a dumb rowdy kid that ran around, and I was just a dirty Florida boy.
Oh wow.
That just never had any sort of answers to any questions and just did whatever he wanted. And that just makes you devalue yourself. Yeah. You're running around like an old used car, beat up 2013 Honda Civic.
Wow.
Blacked out rims. And your value really depreciates. But when you look at yourself in a
but also you gotta have some like some empathy for your past self.
Yeah.
Your younger self.
Yeah, I got that.
He was trying his best.
I got that.
And I think it's also it says a lot when you're the type of person who is trying to adopt a new skill, or you're trying to become a healthier person, but you say to yourself, "Oh my God, I'm not an athlete. I'm not the type of person that can quit smoking. I can't do this." Like if you constantly tell yourself that you're not the type of person that is good at math, or the type of person that can do the thing that you want to do, it makes you feel like you actually can't do it. So if you take the steps to change yourself and become that dream version of yourself, and you kind of flip the switch and say, I am an athlete, or I can be healthy, it just makes you mentally feel like you can adopt those skills and make it a part of your lifestyle. You don't have to be perfect at it, but at least try to adopt some of it instead of constantly saying that you can't do it, you're not that type of person, and then not even taking the strides to try.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give you some.
Yeah.
Yeah, once again, she going crazy.
Yeah.
2 for 2.
Yeah. You know how it is. You know how it is.
You're doing good. What's up? Anything else? I think it's pretty jam-packed.
Yeah, I think we got some good
any
ones.
more to say? Anything else going in that noggin of yours?
Oh, wow. I think my last one is when you do things for yourself, especially if you're trying to become the most healthiest version of yourself, both mentally, physically, spiritually, all of the things, right? You have to try to do things more for your future self instead of your current present self, right? Because a lot of us aren't as disciplined, right? Or like you said before, we're not prioritizing our wellness or mental health or, you know, journaling or going to therapy because we're just busy with life, or we feel like it's not directly impacting the things that we are doing, right? But later on, it's going to catch up to you, right? When you're 40, when you're 50, even earlier than that, you might feel like you're the type of person that can't verbalize feelings, can't actually react properly to things. You might be stuck in a toxic relationship. Now you're married and have a kid with this person. You don't even like them, right? Maybe you have all this trauma that you've never actually healed from. Maybe you never took care of your mind and body properly, and you have health issues later on. And when you think about it like that, if you're constantly thinking, oh, this is tomorrow's problem, tomorrow's gonna come, right? You have to take care of yourself now, and yes, it's gonna be uncomfortable. It's not gonna be feeling the best initially, but then you're gonna get into the groove of things. You're gonna realize that you had to go past like the uncomfortable part to get to the good part, right? And your future self is going to be thanking you, right? So it's really important to be having that in mind.
That one hit me.
Yeah. You like that one?
That one hit me.
Why'd you like that one?
Yeah, you know, it just like hit me, you know, feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Thanks, buddy.
Good one. Wow.
You like this episode?
Yeah, you did great once again. What's going on?
Can you imagine if we tried to jam pack all this in episode 1?
Impossible.
Yeah.
Y'all wouldn't have felt it.
Yeah.
Y'all wouldn't have felt it.
Yeah.
No, that was good.
Thanks, buddy.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I hope it helped.
Yeah. You know, your platform.
Do you have any 10-second piece of advice? Please, this man last episode, did you even keep it in the episode? He said, wear fuzzy socks. That was his 10-second piece of advice.
It's just something that like people like forget about often. That's all.
Okay.
Nah, I mean just like some general advice. The word of the day is abundance. Okay. Think abundantly. You are worthy of more than just the one thing that you think you are worthy of, or the 2 things that you are worthy of. You are worthy of so much more.
Yeah.
All it takes is some hard work and dedication and some positivity. Treat people right. Believe in God.
Oh, wow.
Have good relationships.
Wow.
Eat healthy. And life will be good.
Wow.
Just stay a positive person. Feed positive energy
like
into
a
the world.
whammy.
Stop getting mad for
wow.
no reason. Stop arguing. Stop the arguments. Forgiveness.
Wow. How many pieces of advice?
The word of the day is abundance. Okay, we will be abundant.
That was good.
I know.
That was good.
I know.
It had some like kind of went off topic there, but like
no.
it was pretty good.
Go ahead. You could top that.
Mine is
Probably not.
Consider trying leave-in conditioner. Okay, so I had to go a little. Popped out so many gems. Yeah, leave-in conditioner works wonders for your hair, especially if you have breakage and like, you know, rough ends and things like that. Just try it out. It will leave your hair feeling healthy and soft. You got the Bangla word of the day?
How you say dance?
Nacho.
Word of the day is nacho. Go do some some notching.
That's not the word.
That's just dance in Bangla, and that's the word of the day for y'all. And this was another episode of Difficultish. Hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all got this far,
make sure they rate, review
nice about my hair in the
rate,
comments.
review, comment. Make sure to follow us on the Instagram. It's at Difficultish, and follow us on TikTok. It's at Difficultish Podcast.
Yeah.
We love you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next episode. Allah Hafiz.